Hey guys, in this video, we're going to be reviewing and discussing The Flash Woman at War Part 3, titled Grand Theft Speed Force. This is Part 3 of 7 of the Woman at War comic event. I will hopefully be wrapping this up by early next week. I didn't upload last night. I didn't really feel like it. I was tired and it was a long day. But Part 4 should be out Thursday night, which is tomorrow night when I'm recording this. Friday, assuming things go the way I'm hoping they go, maybe Part 5. Part 5 should be out Friday, but Part 6 and maybe 7 will be out Friday too. I'm going to upload 3 times in one day. I've never done that. But if you guys want that, I should have the free time Friday. You know, if you want this to be wrapped up this week, that way next week we can focus on CW Flash content, we can do that. It's up to you guys. So let me know in the comments down below if you want me to do that. Jump right into it. So it opened up with Wally telling Barry they're at Wally and Lynn's house, who's Barry's giving Iris right now. Because right now Iris is resumed dead because they're moving so fast they can't feel pulses from anyone else. So as of right now, Iris is dead. That's what we're all believing. That's what Barry believes. But point being, Wally goes to get Barry because Jay wants to talk to him about plans and how to stop what's happening. They're trying to figure out a way to get through the wall. And Wallace mentions how they can't stop moving at super speeds and questions why they were forced into it. It steers that the army is manipulating the Speed Force into allowing their vehicles and army to move at super speeds, which does technically explain it. Because again, like Wallace said, Wally, Barry, Wallace, Jay, Max, Bart, Jesse, and Ivory, they were all forced into super speed. Like, they didn't tap into the Speed Force. The Speed Force, like, tapped into them and said, hey, you're moving at super speed. We don't give a crap what you want to do. You're doing it. It was forced, which is something that they never had experienced before as speedsters. So it's a weird situation. And then here comes this army that's also moving super speed. It's like the Speed Force was like, it knew what was happening and it wanted to protect the speedsters as best they can. That's like kind of how I'm taking it. There's even an explanation here. It is theorized. It's not like 100% explained here. But if that is the case, then, you know, that's the case. Barry wants to get one of the vehicles reverse engineer solution. Wallace is kind of worried that Barry's going off the rails, or Wally is, sorry, not Wallace. It's so confusing. It's like this CW show, just one Wally and Wallace, who's the same character. Not 2 different Wallies. I know one's Wally who's the Flash and one's Wallace who's Kid Flash, but still, it's confusing. The point is that Wally is worried about Barry grieving too much and not being 100% focused, but Barry is focused right now, from what it seems like. But Linda wants a secure place to hide everyone in case they end up going after them, you know, the speedsters themselves. So they plan on doing that, then Bart races off because he's impulsive. Wonder where he got the name from. And Wallace, Kid Flash, chases after Bart, since again, he's impulsive. It goes to the Fraction, the alien army that crash landing on the Earth, inside the city, destroying downtown of the city, killing hundreds of thousands. And Admiral Vel, who is the leader of this whole thing, yells at his men for failing at catching the speedster. And that it's mentioned that Miss Murder, who we got a glimpse of in Part 2, but we didn't see her. We see her in this, and she looks pretty cool. Wallace and Bart find a fraction tank, and Miss Murder and her hounds are nearby the tank. Now, the hounds, I believe it was said, can like sense speedsters. I'm assuming they're the Speed Force because, you know, they're connected to it. I mean, that's not even a comic thing either because, like, Barry in his CW show, he can sense other speedsters. You know, he can sense when they're connected to Speed Force. So, although they kind of got away from that in season 5, didn't they? I know season 5 was like Barry could sense. Well, no, season 7 was with Bart. But, like, Barry can sense other speedsters in the CW show. So, it's not like a new thing they just introduced in the comics. Like, this is like a thing. Which it kind of makes sense. So, But, you know, assuming that Wallace and Bart can't do that with them, I guess it's only like the Hounds in this, which is fine. I guess that makes sense. But wouldn't Miss Murder be able to do that as well? Right? Whatever. But nonetheless, the Speedsters, Barry, Wally, I believe Jay was there as well, and Max are in a secure location. They take Mr. Terrific to open up Michael's lab to use as a base. Bart and Wallace are hiding and sneak underground by the Fraction base. Bart wants to take a battery that's there to run tests for the Fraction. They use the battery to defend themselves as they're being caught by some guards, and the battery breaks open and finds a boy inside of it, which is so random, but, you know, Miss Murder shows up and can read their minds, can dictate anything they're going to do. So, like DeVoe in Season 4 of The Flash, they don't think. They just do whatever they want. But it's how they actually stop DeVoe in the finale of Season 4 with Barry and Ralph. You don't think. You just do. You think focus on anything but what you're planning on doing. And Wallace figured that out very easily. But they end up getting away. They didn't want to fight because obviously this is a threat that is moving at their speeds, if not faster. It was mentioned in part 2, I think it was, where the tanks have EMPs that can negate their powers. We're in a tricky situation here. They can't stop running. They can't, think really without having to get into more trouble like they normally would. It's a tricky situation. So Val orders his army to open fire, and they miss Wallace and Bart and hit Miss Murder, which is hilarious. Wallace and Bart hijack one of the Fraction's vehicles. Miss Murder is trying to get on it. She ended up doing so and gets blasted out the vehicles by using a turret that Wallace popped out of the vehicle. Bart and Wallace escape with the transport and bring it back to Wally and Max at their house. And they open up the transport, and as Superman, Grodd, and Captain Atom all frozen since they came with super speeds, and the issue ends there. Do want to point out, it's kind of random with these three. Like, what in the world situation were these three in a room together? Like, was it like, did they catch Superman and like, oh yeah, let's just bring Captain Atom in here too, and then, oh, let's find a gorilla and bring him in? Wait, led them to capture Grodd, Superman, Captain Atom. What's like fighting him? Superman, Captain Atom, we're fighting Grodd? Which, most Superman need Captain Atom there. Superman's powerful enough to stop anyone. Whatever. But I do find it kind of, like a good humor that Superman is involved in that container. Like, he can't move with super speeds. Even though he's supposed to be like the same speed as Flash. Which, again, he's not, he's not a speedster like Barry, or Wally. But I still found it kind of like a side humor that like Superman is like frozen with like a gorilla and a guy who's made out of metal. Like, that's what we're dealing with, and it's kind of hilarious. Good humor, not like cringe humor like the CW show has sometimes, but even I admit it. But this issue was really good. I think it really did kind of pick up like the action stuff. The first two parts, they were great, but it was kind of missing that like action stuff in this issue. I think kind of like was like, yeah, we know that, so we're gonna dump all the action in this. I don't know much about part 4. I already made a thumbnail for part 4. I've had it made for like a week. So I do know that a few certain other speedsters are in this. Some not so good speedsters, as far as I'm aware. From what it looked like. I'm sure I'll find out when I actually read the issue, but it does look very action-packed. So, 9 out of 10. Easily. The first two parts are 9 out of 10 too. I've given the past 3 issues, part 1, 2, and 3, a 9 out of 10. I said this in my part 1 and part 2 review. I think this is easily the best Flash story ever done with regard to some of the CW stories that they've done and like the Flashpoint and the comics and some more stuff here in the Flash. But this is easily one of the best Flash stories that I think has ever been done. And I'm really glad it's happening now. Because, like, it kind of did feel like The Flash as a character, like, his stories were, like, just being so overused in a way. Like, I love The Flash. I always will. But his stories, at least from what I've been seeing, were kind of like on repeat. Like, they were bringing old stories back and then bringing new ones in, but it was always that old feeling. This doesn't feel like that. It feels like a new story with new threats, new, the tanks moving super speed, the army moving super speed. We've never seen that before. So I think it's very, very cool what they're doing. It's a very cool idea. I would very much like to see this in live action, though. One day. I don't think it'll ever happen. But it would be very cool to see this being pulled off in live action. Because I think if this is done in live action one day in like 10 years, I mean, it could easily be like the best Flash story ever done live action. Easily. And I wonder if like they did this in the CW show, what it would have been like. Because, right, we don't have Wally. We have Wallace as Kid Flash. We have Bart's Impulse, but if he would be there, XS would need to be there. I guess could fill up Wally's place. And then Jay and Jesse, assuming they would bring Jesse back for this. And then we don't have a Max. He's teasing 15. But we don't have him. We don't have Irie, who's Wally's kid. And Linda's kid. But Wally and Linda aren't together in the Arrowverse, so that wouldn't work. But it would be very interesting to see that being pulled off in live action. Especially with Grant as the Flash. I would love that, because Grant would kill it. I think we all know that. But, yeah. Very amazing issue. I'm the Constable, you're Prince Spot. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Have a good night. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.